Good day and welcome back to Hammer D20. My name's Steven Sobot, and as you can see, I've kind of switched things up a bit because I am in my dungeon and I'm with my buddy Matt. Hey Matt.
Hey, everybody, how's it going? Hey, Steven.
So kind of a bit of a switch up of things and my usual kind of formula for Hammer D20. Normally, I kind of look to do like a showcase of kind of nerd culture stuff around Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
And so, but because of COVID, wow, what's COVID? What is this mystical thing? It's changed how many things operate, many things kind of work as it is, and many of the places I've been to before are pretty heavily affected by COVID itself. I'd like to introduce my first guest, Matt. I've already introduced you. So, Matt, what are you?
What? A bipedal hominid, as far as I can tell.
Oh, God. Okay, good. Yeah, I am
also,
as well.
My wife, a small business owner in the great city of Hamilton, Ontario, right? My wife and I, we own a board game cafe, which we affectionately call Mancala Monk Board Game Cafe, and that's at 1229 Cannon Street East in East Hamilton. And you can Google us or look us up at mancalamonk.com.
Fantastic, Matt. I guess the question is, how have you guys been doing? You know?
That's a good question. Overall, I would say that we feel pretty fortunate in spite of everything. Just for a bunch of reasons to be a small business, to be family owned, to be sort of low to the ground. We feel like we're going to get through this COVID period okay. It's not without its challenges, but we don't have multiple locations. My wife and I work in the cafe. We did have a big team right before we closed. We had built up. We were about 4.5 years into our business, so that's a healthy amount of time. And we had built like a strong team, and we had a staff of about 8 to 9 people. And everything came to a grinding halt all of a sudden with the pandemic. But the fortunate thing is that we, thanks to living in this great country of Canada, some of the assistance that's available, and the fact that we had been successful for 4.5 years, all of that's going to allow us to sort of like weather these challenges and then reopen soon, which we're very excited about. And if things go well, we should be okay. So that's kind of the plan, is to sort of reinvent ourselves and adapt to the situation, and then continue to provide the service that we want to provide to the city of Hamilton, which we'll be able to do again soon. So we should be okay. And it's been a rocky kind of roller coaster time, but we're okay, and we're excited about the future.
Perfect. Yeah, it's reassuring. I'm really happy for you guys that you guys have are in this position, the kind of thing. Like, I know, obviously, it's kind of a situation where you kind of like, you're just gonna kind of, you're not sure what's gonna happen next, and when your main kind of business and sense of kind of earning upkeep kind of thing is people coming in touching the exact same things over and over again. Like, I'm happy to know that you guys are like at least in a position of to say, I think we'll be fine, right? Like. Or I am fine, right?
Well, who knows? Maybe we'll crash and burn immediately. I don't know.
I mean,
okay. We should be able to make a strong go at things.
Right.
The reason why we're confident, really, is because in the 4.5 years that we've been open, we've built a strong community, and we've always been absolutely amazed and blown away by the reception that we've received, by the people who have constantly supported us, even in our downtime during the pandemic. A lot of people reach out to us. They make purchases. They buy. We used to have a big retail section for games and merchandise, so people have been shopping and buying things. And more than that, people have just been reaching out and saying like, "Hey, we love you. We can't wait to have you back." Yeah. We've had a ton of people actually who have sent us just money. Just to say like, which we converted to store credit for the future. Yeah. Right. So it's not so right. So, but it's just people saying, hey, I know I'm going to shop at your store in the future, but I want to give you the money now. Yeah. So to help you guys through this period of time. And then, when you reopen, like I'll just have this money banked in the system or whatever. Right. And so a ton of people have done that, which kind of blew us away because we didn't solicit that. We didn't that wasn't something we asked for or put out there. So stuff like that, like we've just been constantly amazed at. That's what we love about running a small business is you kind of know your people, you get to know them. There's this feeling of solidarity and camaraderie and togetherness, and we've got that, and we think that will help us sort of like reopen with gusto and be able to obviously make it through. As we reopen, I think we're gonna see a lot of support, and that's gonna make all the difference, because without that, we'd be in trouble.
Perfect, fantastic. So I saw your social media post you guys made very soon, and it's kind of becoming big news that now stage 3 is happening. So woo, everyone's getting excited about that. And obviously you guys have plans. So what are your guys' plans?
Well, so it's been wild, because we, as many people will know, like they announced that certain places were going into stage 3 or phase 3.
Yeah.
But that Hamilton was going to stay in phase 2.
Right.
And when they announced that was like less than a week ago.
Like
they also said that Hamilton was going to stay in phase 2 for like at least 4 weeks, because there needed to be this pattern of good signs, and then maybe we would go into phase 3. And then a few days after that, they announced that Hamilton's going into phase 3 on Friday.
Oh.
And so for people in our situation, it's really interesting, because we're taking all this information and we're trying to assimilate it and use it to make our decisions, right? So we've been working really hard for the last more than a month now, trying to envision what the future looks like, which is always changing, and also who we need to be and how we're going to keep our customers safe, keep us and our staff safe, and our children safe, and then also provide, reopen and provide a service. And then it's funny, with that information changing, it makes it a little bit tricky. So
yeah.
And then the interesting thing is we're a board game cafe. And so what that really means is that we are some sort of a hybrid between a restaurant or a food premise and a gaming space.
Right.
And those are, it's not as though there are many establishments that bridge those two.
So it's kind of like a bit of they don't have like a set plan. You are exactly this, and you must.
Nobody knows we exist. Right? So like whenever the government puts out whatever regulations, whenever politicians or whatever or health experts are trying to conceptualize small businesses, and they're certainly not primarily thinking about us. So, like for example, with the phase 3 thing, there's a lot of talk about how gaming establishments are not supposed to be a part of that. And of course, when they're talking about gaming establishments in that context, they're thinking about casinos, right? And maybe, I don't know, pool halls perhaps, or athletic. Like they're thinking of places that attract thousands of people and they're not thinking about us. And then restaurants are reopening, and technically that's what we are, according to our license.
Yeah.
So, so what's interesting is we've got to make some sort of personal / professional decisions about how we should present ourselves and how we should function, because it's not obvious where exactly we fit, and it's also not obvious to us how comfortable the public is going to be with I don't think anybody knows how comfortable the public's going to be with the various things that are about to reopen,
right?
But a board game cafe is a thing unto itself, because there's the sitting in groups and the eating together, and then there's also the playing of games and the touching of games and the duration of the stay, et cetera, right? So we're trying to figure out who to be, and we're doing our best with that, and things may change rapidly, we don't know, right? But for the meantime, our goal is to reopen as a takeout and retail only establishment.
Okay.
People will be able to come through the front doors, and we've got this designated sort of shopping area, and there's a place where everybody can come in and look around and see what we have.
Okay.
And interact with us and check out the new menu, because we have a whole bunch of new entrees and drinks and desserts that we're going to be offering. So some of our old loyal customers are going to be able to come and find out what's new. And there's a lot of exciting things going on. That's what we're going to do for now. And our big question, and I'm sure a lot of people's big question, if they know us, is like, when are we going to be able to come back in and sit down and play games?
Yeah.
And that's still up in the air, right?
Of course.
We don't. What I would say is we don't feel comfortable, or we don't feel that that's the right thing to be doing quite yet, now. But we obviously, that's our MO, that's our niche, that's our bread and butter. That's what we want to get back to as soon as we can.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll be keeping an eye on, is just trying to pay attention to what's going on in the world. And we're going to do this, what we're calling the Monk Express, right? So that's what we're going to be as soon as we open on July 30th. We're going to be the Monk Express, which is takeout only and retail, but we'll be that for a little bit of time. And hopefully people will enjoy that, because I actually think it's a really exciting thing, and it's challenged us to reinvent ourselves so people can have a different experience of the same small business that they love. And then obviously eventually we'll get back to
the board game part of that. So okay, gotcha. Okay, so if I were to then access this, is this through phone, through internet? How would I access Monk Express?
Right. So it's it's sort of like the main thing is to come on out and see us and to order. There's going to be, we've got our social media, we've got our website, we'll have the phone, and people can message us through Instagram and Facebook, and people do. And you can place orders for anything from food to board games to, retail purchases or whatever it is. We're probably going to be doing board game rentals, which is something that we did right before we closed when the pandemic started.
Yes.
We only got a chance to do that for a couple of weeks, but it went really well. And we've got over 1,000 board games that are open, that are playable.
Yeah.
And so we're working on a system of sanitization, essentially, to make that sustainable. But we just figure, why not? Like, why not rent out these games to people? And we were doing that previously, and it worked really well. So so there's a lot there. But it's sort of like people come on out, come check out the cafe, come, come out in hopefully what is nice, beautiful weather, and get a cold summer drink or get some food. That's the best way, obviously, to interact with us and to support us. And I know a lot of people out there really do have an interest in supporting small businesses and family-owned businesses. So that's what we're excited to do, is to see people again, because it's been so isolating. And so it'll be great just to be able to be out in the world working again and providing something for people.
Fantastic. Yeah, I remember when the first started, you mentioned the board game rentals, and it kind of came up. I was thinking, I guess that would be the process to kind of like, now that you're starting the sanitation process, what will happen in the future, let's say stage 4, or hypothetical stage 4 comes up, and you get opened. Now you already have the system of kind of being like, we got the sanitation system. Now that people are in, we have to sanitize the board games after use. Oh, look at that. We already kind of have a system in place.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're coming up with all kinds of creative ways to sanitize the games. Yeah. Some, they're all a little bit tedious and meticulous, and they're not something that you would obviously want to have to do. Yeah. But at the same time, it's just a temporary measure. It's definitely doable. We've come up with even the concept of like essentially researching board games and the materials that they're made of, like polyethylene and like all the different components and what they're made of, and then researching things like this is a phrase we didn't even know before, but every material seems to have something called like an ignition point or an ignition threshold, which is the temperature at which it can light on fire.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The reason why that's relevant is because, like, viruses and bacteria die at a certain temperature.
Oh.
Right, I think about 150 degrees Fahrenheit, and board games have generally speaking, the components have an ignition point of about 200 degrees Fahrenheit or higher.
Oh.
So you can bake board games. And if you get the temperature right and you're careful about it, then you can hypothetically, kill anything that might be on them without destroying the actual games themselves. So we're trying to figure out what works and what's practical and workable, and but we've got it all kind of either way, everything from just Lysol spray and sanitization wipes and
yeah,
that kind of stuff. But we'll make sure that the games are sanitized, and it is kind of fun to go through this process. It's wacky and it's not something we thought we would have to do when we opened, right? But it's kind of cool to be a part of this larger process, which is all these businesses, small or large, are having to get creative during this time in order to make sure that they can stay in business, but also to make sure that the public are safe, right?
Yeah.
So it really is kind of an encouraging thing to see, human creativity and resilience hypothetically at its best, as people are trying to adapt to the changes and to the challenges. So we're doing that on our end, and hopefully it'll all work out in the end.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh man, it's like I have been to your store a bunch of times to say hi to you before, but it really is so good to see you, Matt. And with that, I like to say thank you for watching this segment of Hammer D20. I will get back to all of you later eventually. All right. Perfect. That's the finger guns solves everything.